No, we found out that we actually watched a top 10 movie in the murder mystery genre. So
It's been a long time since we've joked
we
about
have
this movie.
class.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Hello.
Christmas fact now.
Oh,
Yes?
okay. I didn't know what we would do. I have Christmas facts because if you guys didn't keep up or this is your first time, we're in Christmas. So there's
We're in Christmas mode. We have finished our Halloween bracket, we finished our little Thanksgiving spin-off series, and now we're back into the next holiday.
So I figured there's 35 facts on this list, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to roll 2d20, and I'm just gonna read those two facts because they won't take long. They're not like it's got like a little snippet. Mm-hmm. So, all right. First one, 3, is evergreens are an ancient tradition. The tradition of Christmas trees goes all the way back to ancient Egyptian and Romans, who decorated using evergreens during the winter solstice to signify spring would return. So if you deck your halls with a green tree, wreaths, or evergreen garland, you are honoring history.
Nice.
And then number 10 is a little bit farther down the list. Black Friday isn't the busiest shopping day. Black Friday, or the day after Thanksgiving, certainly sees a lot of shoppers heading to the mall, but we must be a nation of procrastinators because the most hectic days of the year are actually Friday and Saturday before Christmas. Plan ahead if you don't want to be battling the crowds.
I could not be that person. This reminds me, I need to start compiling my Christmas list for people because I'm the kind of person that likes to get as much possible done during Black Friday, and then I'll wrap all the presents, and then all of Christmas is me like preparing my house to host for Christmas Day. But I might have anxiety, so that's
I am similar. Where it's just like no one could say that I'm a man who plans things. No one could ever say that. There's no way I come up with multiple plans and scheduling and all that stuff. It's if you think that, you're crazy.
And then there's me who's like getting anxious because I'm like, people won't tell me what time I'm have to do things. And Payne's willing to be flexible.
Mm-hmm. And for anyone that doesn't know me well, that is being very sarcastic because it's very much me contacting Hop like, hey, what time? Are we good? And then the day before, we still good?
Yeah, I like how you even asked, you were like, did you watch the movie yet? I was like, yeah, I just finished it. And you were like, that was an A24 movie.
Yep.
Like, yep, it was.
It wasn't so much that, because I know sometimes when I message you, you say, well, I'm going to go watch the movie now. So, like, it wasn't like, did you watch it yet? It was like...
Well, I thought you asked so that you could make a comment.
Oh. I don't remember because I was also streaming. So
That's fair.
I was playing Vermintide. I was killing rats.
Fun. But yes, so if you guys haven't checked out the title of the episode yet, our little Christmas thing, and we hinted it at last episode, where we're looking at not Christmas movies to see how Christmassy they are. And Payne has wanted to watch The Green Knight for a while, and I saw this on a not Christmas movie list, and I was like, here you go. I forced you to watch Sharktopus and the whole trilogy. Let's give you a movie you wanted to watch.
Yeah. Next week, we'll see if it's a movie. Next week is a movie that was never on my list, and every time I told people, oh, yeah, I'm watching this, like, you're watching that movie?
Look, the next movie on our list, everyone assumes it's a feminine movie, but I think it's just a fun movie. I know plenty of guys that still quote the movie anyway.
I don't have a problem with it. It's just I think people, when they look at me, they're just like, that doesn't look like a Payne movie. Then what is?
Yeah, you watched Sharktopus. Anything could be your movie now.
Yeah. No, we found out that we actually watched a top 10 movie in the murder mystery genre. So
it's been a long time since we've joked about this movie.
We have class.
It's coming back. We haven't talked about Twizzler
Pinky
Suit.
out.
We haven't talked about Twizzler Suit J-Lo in a long time. And she's coming back.
That's a shame. She's dressed for Christmas.
Oh, wait. There is a gift-giving scene. Is that his birthday or is that Christmas?
In the cell?
When she's in his brain. She brings him a gift, doesn't she?
I'll be honest, I don't remember. I deleted so much of that movie out of my head.
That's fine. But yes, so we watched The Green Knight. And I know a lot of our other previous movie watch-throughs have been like trying critically or not so critically looking at the content of a movie to say like, oh, we like it this much or that much. Not so much for these. These are a little bit more chill. We have our little box of criteria that we came up together to say.
That's right, they're back. Our boxes of criteria. They haven't been here since last year.
Yeah, and this is more so, what do we think of when we think of a Christmas movie? Like, what defines a Christmas movie? So we came up with, does it take place in the Christmas season as being the most important? Then, is there Christmas music? Because without Christmas music, you can't really set the Christmas mood. Then after that, we have Christmas decorations. Then we have, is there a Christmas moral? And then finally, does Santa appear? You know. And I think we were thinking of like the Rankin Bass movies because that's what we watched last year. And we were like, these are so Christmassy.
Yeah. And so just to let everyone know how we're scoring this, is you can get a 1, 2, or 3. 1 is no, it doesn't. 2 is sort of. And 3 is absolutely yes. So.
And the highest scoring out of all the movies we're watching is, will be the most Christmassy, not Christmas movie that we've watched. We have 5 on the list. Do you want to tell them now what they are, or kind of just hint at what the next movie will be when we get there?
I'm okay, because I think every time I was like, no, let's let it be a mystery. But then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, I just want to tell them all. And so...
All right, go ahead and read out for them what movies we're watching.
Let's just tell them all, because we won't be able to surprise people when it gets to January. So, yeah, we have the Green Knight that we're watching today. Next week, we have Mean Girls. The week after that is Batman Forever. I gotta scroll my list. The next one is, which will be coming out... I realized I wasn't saying when these actually come out. On the 19th is The Gremlins. And then on the 26th, the day after Christmas, but the day that is that corporations are forced to celebrate Christmas, that is when Die Hard is coming out.
Yes. While I was watching Green Knight, like I asked Strider if he wanted to watch Green Knight because he is also a fan of A24 films, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna watch Green Knight instead of like a Sharktopus movie. You want to watch it with me? He's like, yeah, I'll watch it with you. And he saw me write down the notes. They mentioned Christmas and Christmas music ? And he was like, oh, are you taking more notes? I was like, oh no, we're not. I'm not like talking about the movie in whole detail. I'm just talking about how Christmassy it is. And I was like. I said, we made Does Santa Appear? And I don't think Santa is in any of these. And he gave me a look. And I was like, is there Santa in Die Hard? He's like, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, this is what it is. But we'll find out. And for just to let everyone know, not that it's like these both were, I'm trying to think, like we brought... Die Hard was already on the list because it's just like that is what always starts this conversation. And then I think we both brought 2.
Yeah, I think I brought Mean Girls and Batman Forever.
Yeah, and then I brought The Green Knight. Well, you kind of brought The Green Knight as it was on a list, and Gremlins.
Yeah, and I think you said you found another movie that could technically fit in this as well, right?
I have started a list. I have told Hop this because there's a few things that I would like to come back to again at some point. Like the Halloween bracket, that was a lot of fun, and I would like to do that again. So, but I also realize that just like when I got to make a character in an MMO or anything where there's different classes, I have I can't pronounce this word every time I try to say it. Paralysis.
Oh, analysis paralysis kind
Yeah,
of thing.
that.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I don't know what's good and what's the best one. And so every time a movie comes up, I got like 5 movies written down for Halloween. For another Halloween bracket.
So, like, by bracket, you mean like our older style bracket that we had done, where it was the seed of movies?
I like the Halloween seed. I did really enjoy that. It was a lot of work, but I think
if we spread it out.
I think the way we do stuff now, it would be easier.
Yeah.
Like, because we were uninformed and not ready for all that. But that you guys aren't here to learn about our past stuff or our future political podcast.
Inside joke. Sorry, guys. Subscribe to Patreon for side content. JK.
Yeah, if you find it, let us know. We would like to see what's on it too.
If you find one, it's not us.
Oh man, that's what I would do if I was a time traveler. I would come back and make a Patreon for us, and like not like no one would know, and everyone's just like supporting this, and then it's just like years later we just like go and like to make it, and we're just like, what the heck?
who's making this?
Who's this?
Our secret time travelers are actually the ones with the other podcasts with our same name.
We changed.
I was just gonna say, so Dpayne does have an active list of other movies that can kind of fit in this category, but if you as a listener are like, oh, out of those 5 movies, you didn't include so-and-so as a not Christmas movie, let us know on places like twitter.com, maybe, /pointlessdisco.
Yeah, that's a bundle of, that is its own form of content right now.
Yeah, but
we'll
that is a way that you can DM us and both of us would have access to it. Otherwise, yeah, we have links to stuff in the description, and let us know, because we like amassing lists of content ahead of time now. We used to be, every week we didn't know what we were going to come into next week. Now we have essentially 2023 planned.
We have a content schedule.
Who are we? This is not how we started out.
Yeah, I know. And now it's like our friendship is based off a content schedule.
In theory, with what we have pre-scheduled, we used to have trouble figuring out what to do if we had to like double up for weeks, but now
it's like we
so much ahead of time.
We're like, yeah, it's just like, well, let's do it. Oh wait, that reminds me, I think we did have a comment on one of our posts, because the Sharktopus one, by the time we're recording this, the first one came out.
Oh yes. If you comment on any of our socials, YouTube or Twitter or any other means,
it's gonna be a little late.
Or leave us ratings or reviews. We'll get to you. We promise we'll shout you out.
Let's see, because it was on mine. Mm-hmm. So I posted. Let's see. So I posted a thing on Pointless Discourse Twitter, and then as I wrote, I'm still trying to figure out what I watched, and then a friend of mine, Grandpa Juan, who was a Mixer streamer. I think he was a Mixer streamer, maybe he was a Twitch streamer. He doesn't stream anymore, but he's like a chill old dude that's like really cool. I don't know if he listens to this. If he does, hey man, have a good day. He said, why does Sharktopus have front crab claws? Also, it seems that it would have more fluid movement if it just used its tentacles, because I used the thing where it's just walking. And the GIF doesn't show it walking well.
Is it the squiggly one where he's kind of like doing this a bunch? Sorry, by this I'm moving my arm in like a snake.
It's this one.
Oh yeah, he's struggling.
Yeah,
he's struggling.
And he's like, "This clothes look like it would get hung in a sewer drain." And it's like, "I think he's just top heavy, big head, much confusion." To where his response was, "Also, I'm not sure if he has a digestive tract to support that body." It's like, "That's why he must keep eating, easy in, easy out." So yeah, if you guys leave comments like that and all that, now I'm. Oh, that's right. I need to open up this one to see if we got reviews. Yeah, just let us know and we'll give you a little like, how'd you do? Let's see. But as much as I want to roll, I don't think we really have anything to really roll for.
It could be whoever does the little synopsis of the Green Knight.
All right. Yep. So I was just checking the things. Okay. Yeah, because I guess so that's what we're gonna do. I think I don't think we have to take up the whole time, but maybe if we just set a timer for like 30 minutes, and it's just like, okay, if wherever we are, finish our thoughts, and then go on to
spoiler warnings.
Yeah, spoiler warnings, because this came out like 2 years ago, or last year. Yeah, so I'll set a timer for like 30 minutes. Does 30 minutes sound good, or do we want less?
I think that's fine.
Yeah, because like, and that's the thing for anyone listening. It doesn't mean that we will take up the whole 30 minutes. It's just that is our cutoff time. Because if you listen to any of our other shows, we like to ramble. So before I hit start, is there anything else that you would want to say?
Apologies. I'm going to try and mute every time I feel like I have to sneeze.
No, let them hear. That is that premium content.
I've been feeling off since the tropical storm has come through, so I wonder if like it going from like
hot to cold.
Yeah, back and forth so much. My body is just like, oh, it's change of seasons. Oh, it's change of seasons. Oh, it's change of seasons. And I'm like, no, it's already been fall. It's just so confusing right now.
I wish I had a Christmas dye.
Nothing green or red?
No. Well, I got stinky cheese. Let's see. I don't think there's any in here.
Look, for the Green Knight, it looks like they eat a lot of stinky cheese, so I think that still works.
A lot of gruel. Yeah, I'll just roll stinky cheese.
Yeah, I've rolled on my phone app.
So, yeah. Here we go. I rolled the most middling of middle numbers.
I got
11.
The most middling of middle numbers. I got 10.
Oh, cool. I wanted to talk about this one anyway.
Okay. So you got your timer started?
Yep, I am starting the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. So the Green Knight, for anyone that doesn't know, is based off of the poem Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. There are changes. There are definitely changes. I'll just figured I'll switch. Not switch, but I'll just share like the story-wise the big changes. Because I remember I was reading articles. I'm like, I don't remember some of that stuff, but it's also been a while. Mm-hmm. In the story, Sir Gawain is actually a knight already. He's and King Arthur isn't on his deathbed. Like, he's not about to die in a couple days. Like, so there's that. But the thing is, like, this whole movie is like pretty much Gawain is like it's kind of like a grow up story. Like, it's pretty much, hey, it's time for you've been like slacking and hanging out in the horror houses too long. And so
I'm just gonna say something real quick. I wanted to help follow along, and I opened up the Spark Notes for the original story, and look at this ad placement. Sorry to interrupt. So
you're
rudely,
fine.
But how am I supposed to do anything when it looks like this? There's no X. They really said no cheating. Okay, go ahead.
All good. So if I remember correctly, though, and if you see some of the Spark Notes, feel free to correct me. A lot of the stuff, so Sir Gawain, in the movie, he's younger, not a knight, and he's unsure of himself, and his mother actually summons the Green Knight, which I forget what his mother's name, to like pretty much force Gawain to grow up, to go on this journey. In the movie, it's actually I forget. It's Arthur's wife's. It's not her, but like her sister or something like that, or mother-in-law or something. I can't remember who. It's somebody like related who's jealous of Arthur's wife. Pretty much sends the Green Knights just to mess with King Arthur and his knights. And it's just like, and the story is pretty much the same, where it's just like, except everyone's not like an old knight. Like Gawain and King Arthur, they're all younger and around the same age. Like this is like an early story that takes place, and then in the movie, it's the same thing where it's just like, give me a blow and go from there. And I think in the original story, Gawain, like King Arthur's just like wants to do it, but he's just like, I'm too drunk or something like that, and Gawain's like, I'll do it.
Yeah, so like it says here in the Spark Notes, it says Arthur's court depends heavily on the code of chivalry, and in the story criticizes that the chivalry values appearance and symbols over truth necessarily. And then it says that the Green Knight challenges the court, mocks them for being so afraid of mere words and things like that. And then it skips ahead to talk about him traveling to the chapel.
Yeah, so that's one of the things of like Sir Gawain, that he was so chivalrous that one of the scenes later, it's just like, that's not how it happened in the book. But pretty much I don't think the first part, so there's like 3 stops to his or obstacles in his journey, if I remember right. There's the highwaymen. I'm just thinking over the garden wall. The highwayman. There's those guys. There is the abandoned house, and the creepy couple in the woods. I don't think the first part happens, because like I remember in the article I was reading, it's like that first section was just added to show like movie Gawain, his night, like his just not knowing how the world works, and him just getting just looted. And
yeah, I know in the first part Strider said that he thought there was symbolism there used to show him kind of like grow, him losing his old self, right? Because there's the one scene that I thought was cool where he was tied up and the world was spinning, and it comes back to him being a skeleton, and then it spins again and he's back to life. So it was like, oh, okay, so that probably symbolizes like his old self having to like die so that his more mature self has to be born. I was like, yeah, I see that. I don't know, there were a lot of cool visual devices used in the movie, but sometimes I was like, oh cool, they're conveying a lot of emotion without talking, but when they use that so much, I started to be like,
there's a lot of silence in this movie,
like for better or for worse.
It's a movie that would not, like, if made by any other studio house, wouldn't come out the same way. There would be a lot more fighting, a lot more swordplay, and it's like that's not the focus of this film. So there's that. And then he wanders through a scene that is way too dark. That is one of my complaints, where I'm just like, is this my computer? And then I turned up the brightness on my computer, and no, it's just almost pitch dark, and which fits the next scene where he goes to his abandoned house, say, I'm gonna take a nap here, and this woman's just like, why are you in my bed? He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's just like, pretty much like, hey, go get my head. It's in the, and just tells a story. Apparently, I think there was something similar to this in the story, the original story, but I can't remember if it sounded really familiar, and I was like, I wasn't sure.
It sounded familiar to me as well.
I wasn't sure if it was a different King Arthur story, but I forgot to look that up. But it's really interesting, like where he pretty much goes through death again, and then he gets the axe back, which is it was stolen by those little hooligans. And then the second last one, he finds this fox and is hanging out with this fox and just having a good old time. And then he comes across this house with these creepy old couple. Well, not old couple, but like this creepy like married. I don't know what they are, but
they don't really specify.
They don't specify, but I think in the original movie in the book they are related, like married or something like that. I don't remember, but there's like creepy grandma just chilling, just like, sup. I see y'all, even though I'm blindfolded. Which this is actually in the original story, but I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase this, but I can't think of any other way. Yeah, well, he doesn't straight up masturbate in the middle of the bed with the woman. So, in the original story, it's pretty much he's like, no, I'm not going, because he's so chivalrous that he's like, no, I'm not going to do this with you. Like, I'm not doing anything, to the part where his big sin is him giving her a kiss. Mm-hmm. And so, different time. Yeah, and I remember that scene. I was like, well, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and I was very concerned for like the well-being of Gawain when the guy, the male in the couple, was like, whatever you get in this house, you have to return to me. And I was like, Gawain, oh buddy, you're making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and I was like, is he gonna have to return what he? No, just a little smooch. Okay, and he got his fox back. To almost immediately have the fox being like, yeah, I could talk this whole time. What are you doing? You're going to go die. Also not in the movie. The fox actually is like, they hunt. It's a mention in the original poem tale of that guy has been trying to hunt the fox this whole time. And he's like, it's just too crafty. And I think he gets it at the end or something. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, the movie, they just have the hints of like the fox in the hunting painting, and then Gawain in the other half of the hunting painting.
Yep. And so we bring that up to the end of the movie. Once again, spoilers if you don't want to hear how it ends. Gawain has to go pretty much receive the blow that he did to the Green Knight in tow. And in short, pretty much he cuts off the Green Knight's head, and now the Green Knight's going to return that to him. And I remember in the book, I keep saying the book, it's like a short tale. In the original product, Sir Gawain does flinch, and he's just like, and the Green Knight's like, hey, I didn't do that to you. He's like, sorry, won't happen again. And he's just like, he takes it. And in the movie, I thought it was interesting because I was like, okay, they'd taken a different thing, and I thought it was really interesting where it shows the timeline of him running away and how he lives that whole life, and he's just like, all right, do it. And the one thing we forgot to mention in the beginning, he gets this green sash that is pretty much there to, like, his mom's like, it's going to protect you. It gets stolen by the people in the beginning of the movie, and then he gets another one back in exchange for masturbating. And yeah, so he gets the green sash, and then like in that in his timeline B, thing. It's he's constantly wearing it as he is living a kingly life, I guess. And then at the end, he takes it off and receives the blow fairly. In the story, he does get a sash like that in the beginning before he leaves, and it does protect him, but he never loses it. He just always keeps it on.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's just, and that's actually he takes the blow and like it stops the axe, if I remember correctly, and the Green Knight's just like, well, I wasn't expecting that, but hey, you might have cheated, but you did what you were supposed to.
You came here, you accepted it.
Let's get drunk. so yeah, they go and do that. And if I'm butchering the story, I'll admit I haven't read that thing since middle school, but I know I do think it's one of my favorite King Arthur tales, the original one. I think one of the ones that I also like a lot, which I remember when I first read it, I was like, this is really dumb, but it's just like, looking back at it, I was like, I could see, like, I have a little bit more appreciation to it, where it's like the knights are all running, like just doing a hunt or something like that, and this like old decrepit woman comes out of the woods and is just like tells King Arthur, you have to marry me or you're gonna be cursed, and everyone's like, no, and so one of the knights is like, I will take this upon myself, like don't worry, Arthur, I got you. And he's like, I think it was like, yeah, come back in a year and we'll do our marriage stuff. He's like, okay. And so he comes back. I don't know if it's a year, like I think it's like a couple. So he comes back and he's just, and they go, it's like the night, and he's just like, this like smoking hot woman comes in. She's like, who are you? Where is the woman I just promised to marry? He's like, I am her. Since you held your promise, the curse of me is broken. But but then it's just like, but here's the thing. You have to choose. Should it be like, I can only look like this either in the day or at night? What would you prefer? And he's like, I don't know. I can't decide. You choose. And she's like, oh, you broke the other part of the curse. Now I'm always hot. And I'm like, this is a really silly tale. It's still a little silly, but it's just like, I guess when it was written in there, is pretty much like, when it was written, it's just like, hey, husbands, listen to your wives, you idiots. But anyway, but yeah, overall though, like that's the general synopsis of the movie. I think I just really like A24 films.
Like I'm not.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, it's cinematically, it's beautiful. I did think like some of it could have been trimmed a bit because like I don't mean to say that it felt like a long movie, but I think it was because of there's a lot of nuance in just the way people looked at each other. That like I really was like invested in the first, I'd say like 75% of the movie. In the last 25%, I was like, I understand what's happening, but they're gonna keep playing out this alternate life that he's living, and I was just like, when does it flip? Because like I liked Winifred, but like she's not alive. You can't get married to her. And I was like, I don't want to watch this guy be mean to the girl that's like been faithful for him for like all of, even though he essentially lived in the whorehouses in the beginning of the movie, she was still like, oh, I love you, and then gives him the bell and he's like, oh, I love you, and then as soon as he sees another hot lady, he's like, what, bell? No, I don't know what this is, you can just throw it away. And then has a kid with her and goes, kid's mine, you can live in poverty, peace. And I was like, I get that they're doing the moral side of it where it's like, by him being a coward and running away and everything, he chose the
renegade path instead of Paragon. That's the only thing I know of Mass Effect. That and you can kiss a fish person.
Very important to me. But no, like cinematically I thought it was beautiful. I did just feel like it was a bit long.
It's as I was mentioning earlier, like if any other like film house or production crew took this on that wasn't A24, there would be a lot more a lot more fighting. Like, I think there would just be a lot more combat or action, and it's just like
I'm not
there,
asking for that necessarily.
No, and I wasn't really necessarily saying that's what you were. But it's just like they have a whole scene in there called Intermission, which is literally him just riding his horse, and it's like we got a bunch of cool B-roll. We wanted to show it off, and it is like the shots are
Pretty,
really beautiful, pretty and really neat to look at. I think the CGI in this film is very minimal as well.
Yeah, I think it was really just the fox and the giants.
Yeah. That's also not in the story. I forgot about that. That's like
I was so thrown off when the fox howled, and I was like, "That's a wolf sound."
Yeah,
that's not a fox.
I think I wrote in my notes. It was just like, "That's not what a fox sounds like."
We all learned what they sound like via the viral video.
So yeah, I still think one of the lines that cracked me up the most is the first spoken line. Is you see Sir Gawain in the whorehouse waking up, and I think it's the girl that he's interested in, and she's just like, what was it? Just like
Christ is born.
Christ is born this day, and it's just like, I think I wrote it like, well, I didn't know that was a Christmas tradition.
I do like his mom in the movie where she's like, "Where were you?" He's like, "Mass," and she's like, "Oh, have you been taking sacrament at mass all night? Because that's what you smell like." Yep. He's like, "Yeah, church is hard, Ma. I'm gonna go to bed." She's like, "Sure, you were at church."
Yeah.
And then I liked Winifred's character a lot. He's like, "Are you real or are you a spirit?" She's like, "Okay, and what's the matter? Go get my head." Yeah, I'm on my head.
Like her stuff was like really cool. Like, because at least on my computer, I don't know how it looked on your TV, where it was just like she just like melted out of the shadows and just like slid, and it was just like I was like, that was really unnatural looking. Like her whole section was really interesting.
Yeah, I liked how she like floated at him, and he went to touch her, and she's like, "Excuse you,
yeah,
you're a knight. You know better than to touch a woman you haven't met." And he's like, sorry."
Yeah.
Oops.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did like the way she challenged him. She was like, "I've died so long ago. Was it you?" And he's like, "No, I swear, I didn't kill you." She's like, "You sure? Because I can't tell the difference between anything anymore. Men are men." And he's like, "No, it was not me. Yeah. Not me, I promise." She's like, "Well, you were in my bed, though." He's like, "No."
He's like, "I didn't mean it. Didn't know that was you."
A24 also does seem to like turning movies, whether intentionally or not, into horror movies, which I always find fascinating with them. Like, if you watch The Lighthouse, that's not advertised. Well, it might be advertised as a horror, but like that one has a lot of like scary moments in it as well. And I would say like I like the soundtrack and everything of this movie a lot. It just feels like, I don't know if it's the A24 thing, but it almost feels like this movie was, I guess in my opinion, it felt like when I ask comic book fans about a superhero and then they talk for 2 hours and I'm like, you just said the same thing about the person over and over again. Like, you could have summarized it a little bit faster. So like that's the only thing that I wish was kind of brought down in the movie. But I understand like a lot of the shots and the B-roll and stuff was cool, and some of the choices in the scenes were really cool. But like the stuff with the giants, I was like, this is neat looking. But it was like
it wasn't
his short. It was just a shortcut for him, right? He was just like, "Can I ride on your shoulders?" And then they all like howled at him, and I was like, "Icky."
Yeah, but like that. The weird thing is, it's just like the Green Knight in the beginning of the movie is just like, it's like 6 days away, or it's like
no, it's 6 days of travel to where he needed to go.
Yeah, and so. And it's just like, okay, come on.
And I think I said to Strider, I was like, I hope he didn't leave with just enough time to get to the place, because he's been kind of sidetracked for like several days at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I like when he just wakes up in the house and he's just like, what day is it? And it's like, oh, don't worry, buddy. We already know. Like, we know your whole thing. You're fine. It's just right down the road.
And I was like, this is so suspicious.
Yeah, in my head I was like, you're going to trust this dude? And he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to lounge around the house. Pick up this book. Just forget that it exists.
And then Strider was like, "Did she invent a camera?" And I was like, "It looks like she invented a camera."
And yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of things that were neat about the movie. It's one of those movies where I classify it's a movie I enjoyed that I'll only watch once.
Yeah, like
It's not. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, it's a very good experience, and it has like the cinematography, the music, the acting. It's all really good, but I don't know who I would recommend this to.
Yeah, it feels a lot more of like a film buff movie where it's just like, or if you really like camera shots, because there is a lot of like really cool camera tricks and like as you were saying in the beginning, when the camera slowly does a turn and like shifts and it shows like a different season than they're in, and then shows the skeleton of Gawain and then turns back around and we shift back into winter of this year and he's there again as he gets the motivation to crawl over to the
Cut
sword.
himself loose, yeah.
And then immediately loses that sword. I don't think he has that sword ever
Yeah,
again.
Strider was like, "Why didn't he bring the sword with him?" I was like, "I don't know."
He's stupid.
But then I was like, "But isn't the axe bound to him?" And then the axe shows up in the lady's house, and he was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, it is bound to him." I was like,
Yeah.
"Cool, easy."
The thing that I did enjoy about the original tale is that since that story happens early enough in the King Arthur timeline, the Green Knight's just like, dude, yeah, you honored your promise and you're a cool dude. Here, have my axe. And so there's this legend of like, there's tales later of Gawain showing up with the giant green axe just cleaving people, and he's just like, sup, losers? And just like, yeah, it's definitely a night and day different portrayal. And overall, like, I enjoyed both of these. Like, I think the film looked and like definitely modernized some of the, not some, but a lot of the stuff. But it's just like, I don't know if they went in with a chivalrous not King Arthur, Sir Gawain, if that whole, like, the story beats hit that we were hoping to hit would have hit.
Yeah, this was very much it was kind of cool to see in terms of like a story where it's someone who's forced, like, oh, you're not in the court, the king's not watching, do you still act like a knight? Do you still uphold all the chivalries and things that you're supposed to if nobody's watching?
Yeah.
And then they took it to the point where it's like, no, he doesn't. And what happens if he just tries to run away from everything and take shortcuts and do things his own way versus the way that he should be doing it?
There's something else, and it's interesting because it's like in the original tale, as I said, like, King Arthur's partying, and he's just like he's just like, yeah, whatever, man, do it. And but Arthur warns Gawain in the beginning. It's like, this is a game, and it's just when he cuts off his head, like, there's a quick shot of Arthur's like, you idiot. Like,
I
he
know,
knew.
like, as soon as he, like, they read the letter and he's like, I will return anything, a cut on the cheek or a slash to the neck. And then the knight goes, all right, here's my neck. And Gawain's like, let's go in. And I was just like, is he this dumb in the poem? And Strider's like, it's been a long time since I read it, so I can't tell you.
Yeah, I think there is a little. I don't think it's like he does cut off the head, but I can't remember, like, because I think it's actually they fight. Like, I think they actually fight in there, and like Gawain takes the head, and that's when he's just like, and then like he's like, oh, we won, and then it's like that's when he like goes and picks up his head. It's just like, all right, see you in a year. And I think, if I remember correctly, once again, it's been a while. I think it was more of the thread of, if I just end this now, we don't have to worry about this in a year.
Yeah, because like in the movie, they also seem to celebrate, and then the knight is like, all right, I got my head, see you in a year, everybody. Laughs his way out of the room. And Gawain is like, what did I do?
Mama? Yes. But I'm pretty sure that like everything else that I kind of want to talk about, I think will come out in our little topics here. But no, overall, like as I said, I enjoyed it. Probably won't watch it again unless like I'm with a group of people that really want to watch it.
I wonder if it'd be easier to watch on a second watch through. Easier might not be the right word, but more like
you can pick up more.
Pick up more and then get more comfortable with the pacing. Because I feel like it's not that the pacing in the beginning is slow, but it does feel to me like it got slower.
Yeah,
at a certain point.
Because it was pretty much like rush going out the door, because that's the majority of the story. Mm-hmm. And then it's I don't know who the director is. I can look that up. But this director is very much taking his time.
Yes.
Hold on, there we go. I found The Green Knight. The biggest differences. I can scan through that real quick. The director, David Lowery. He did Pete's Dragon remake, and The Ghost Story. I don't really know. I don't really recognize any of the other stuff in here. So let's see. I'm just quickly scanning through this article I read. Yeah, the Green Knight looks different. His head is pretty much like a bush. Yeah, and this is what I was like referencing because I was reading this article. And Arthur's much younger. I thought his helmet was funny, or his little thing. Yeah, Morgan Le Fay, which is Gawain's mother in the movie. Mm-hmm. And she, in the legend, she's a legendary sorceress, and she does summon. I think she does summon. I'm really just doing a quick scan because I know the time is almost out to switch. Let's see. So in the movie, she wants her son to grow up. In the poem, let's see. There it is. It's this other paragraph. Gawain's mother is the sister of Morgan Le Fay, and she pretty much just sends us to mess with Arthur. I'm not gonna read through the whole thing. There's no talking fox. And the Battle of Wills, as we already mentioned, is different. Yeah, and then the only other big thing was that Gawain never removes the girdle. Mm. So, like, he always wears it. Yeah. So
I was scrolling through IMDb as a little fun fact. I was trying to remember where I recognized the queen, the actress. Sorry. Mm-hmm. And she is Ford in Prometheus. She's one of the scientists that goes in and do the dead.
Okay. I see. Well, I don't see because I'm trying to remember who Ford was. Where's Prometheus on here? I'm on our IMDb. When did that come out? 2016?
Here, I sent a screenshot to you. I feel like you'll recognize her more in a helmet.
Wait, that's the mom?
Yeah, that's the queen.
Oh, the queen. Okay, I thought you said the mom, and so I was looking at Gawain's mother, and I'm like, I don't see it. But yes, now I see it. Yes, I miss the queen. Yep. So.
And then another thing, the person that plays the scavenger in the very beginning of Green Knight, he's in another A24 film. For whenever we sit down and decide to do our blog of A24 films.
It's gonna happen. So, you know what? Essel is also in an A24 movie that we watched on for this podcast. She is Ava from Ex Machina.
Oh.
I didn't realize it. I was just clicking through everyone's name.
And no. I was like,
Yeah, well, like I just scrolled down and
Oh.
like I'm just clicking on everyone that has a picture because I'm like, oh, that must mean they did something. Gwaine is from Slumdog Millionaire. I never watched it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I recognize Dev Patel.
Um, let's see. Sean Harris. I heard of that name. I don't know who he is though. He's in a lot of Mission Impossible movies. But yeah. But the time is up, so we can move forward before we get sucked into other stuff. I guess final thing before we move over is it is I think it's definitely worth watching once. And to just before we went into IMDb, there was something that was like I think when I was thinking about it, like if I watch this movie again, I think what I would do is read the poem before watching it.
Okay.
I think that's something I would do before that, just to remember everything and have a clearer picture. So, but yeah.
That's fair.
But
So now we transition into how much of a Christmas movie is this?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. So, I can definitely say, for sure with the three, they
Yes.
mention Christmas constantly.
Yes, as I joked with Hop before, I don't think this was recorded. I'm like, I think they keep mentioning that it's Christmas because this movie is so dark and it doesn't have your normal Christmassy vibes, that it's just like like, no, it's Christmas, believe me. Like, we woke up in a whorehouse and they got the best present of all, according to some people. Relationships.
Our next category, Christmas music. I mean, yes, right? 'Cause
there is Christmas music. It's like
when they go to church.
Yeah. There's the medieval background music, like the medieval remix. have you
Yeah, I used to listen to those on YouTube.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, but it's like the thing that I thought was really interesting that is not like a medieval remix. I think they went and got like old, like either Dark Ages or medieval times, whatever in that era, the like Christmas hymns, because it's like I don't remember seeing, like, you can see the outlines for some of the songs that get sung around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, yeah, it's just also interesting just the way they did it, like as you were saying, like how A24, like inadvertently everything becomes horror that we've seen.
Yeah.
But it's like because the movie starts off, there's really no music except for like I think some, like maybe when he interacts with like when he goes to get the skull, and when I think there's maybe some music when he's with the woman to get the girdle back.
They do play music when he's being attacked by the initial scavengers.
Yeah, but like it's pretty much the scenes of intensity, and then like at the end, like when he's having his vision, like there's music that plays during that. But it's like the music choice is really like well played, but like for the most part, like it's pretty much quiet, and then like I think for the B-roll they play like one of these old Christmas songs, and like but like, and then it opens up and it's just the way these songs are sung and portrayed, and if that's how they originally were played back in the day, cool. But it's just like this, just hearing this song with some, like just the color tone of the movie and just the setting walking through, it's like already setting things on edge, like emotions, and like what's gonna happen here, because it's like it's a haunting Christmas song, like just the way it's sung, and it's like it's not your normal like Santa Claus coming to town. It's just like I can't even remember some of the words, but I just remember sitting there listening to it, and I'm like, this is chilling, and it is done really well. Like it's it almost feels like it's chosen on purpose to show like the uneasiness and dread of I almost said Kessel. Who the heck is Kessel? Of Gawain going to where he could potentially die, and it's just like it sets like that tone in the music. But yes, it is technically Christmas music.
Yes. Then our next category is Christmas decorations. I want to say no, because even during the Yule dinner when the Green Knight shows up, it's not decorated at all.
Yeah, I don't really remember any decorations.
Yeah, even in the castle with that couple, it was just his like tapestries. There's nothing that looked like it was specifically for Christmas, I guess I would say.
Well, I guess it wasn't a Christmas decoration. I was like, there could have been a Christmas. There was a Christmas tradition because he definitely woke up in the beginning of the movie with a woman, and then when he was at that house, he interacted with a woman. So that's his Christmas tradition. It could be a daily tradition for him.
Yeah,
but...
I was gonna say, please don't say his choices of women or decorations for him.
Oh no, I wasn't saying decorations. I was gonna say his actions.
Okay,
that's what that was more. Okay, yeah, I could see now that was
where that
not,
transition in conversation.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was not what I was going with. It was more the fact he is showing
he's loosey goosey.
Yeah. It's right. How close can we get to that where we have to put on an explicit warning, our third explicit warning on a podcast?
Then we have, is there a Christmas moral? There are morals in this. Would you relate them to Christmas?
What is a Christmas moral?
Because like in the Rankin Bass, it was what, like...
You got to put one foot in front of the other.
Just because things are different than you, don't say you hate them, because isn't that the Rudolph one? Because they have the island of abandoned toys and they bully Rudolph for being different. Grinch is don't be jealous and spiteful.
Don't be a dick.
What was the
Santa Claus one is just do crimes to give people toys.
Yeah. Or what was it? Don't steal other people's happiness. Or
I like my moral better.
Yeah. The leader of the town was just like, if I can't be happy, nobody can be happy.
Yeah, and the year without
Frosty
Santa Claus
was weird. Frosty was chase after people.
Chase after your dreams. Chase after weird round men.
I mean, there were morals in this, so I'm gonna put kind of.
Yeah, it's a 2. There is growth that happens at Christmas time.
And then no Santa.
No, definitely the Green Knight was a caricature of Santa Claus.
Yes.
Instead of giving coal, he beheads you.
Yeah, he gives beheadings.
Oh, I wrote a 12. How did I get
Oh boy. On a scale of 1 to 3, he gives it a 12.
There was 12 Santas. They were all hiding. The giants, they were Santas. That's how he's able to get around the earth so fast.
So we have, was it 10 out of a possible score is 15 for how Christmassy this is?
Yeah. So it's above average. It is. What is the middle score of a 15?
Well,
6,
I guess we could say
4,
it's
7?
20 out of 30, right?
7.5.
Because our combined scores would be 20.
Yeah,
and our
20
combined
out of 30.
scores. So if it gets a 15 out of 30, that's average. Average Christmassy. So slightly above.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So yeah, it's. But yeah, that went off really fast.
Well, yeah, because this one doesn't really there's back and forth on it because
it's very much it is what it is, and so
yeah,
it's but no, I do think this was a good starter because it was like we didn't have to get bogged down in because it is new, and so it's not like I don't feel like some of these movies feel like was this something of the times or are
Yeah,
not.
but I mean, even all of
But
these movies though are popular releases, so it's not like
yes,
Sharktopus where we have to be like, you wouldn't believe what we just saw.
yeah. But like the other thing is like it's a good setup because as we did mention, like even though we really like and there's a lot of camera tricks, the movie is very sparse. Like there's not a lot of interaction. Like it it works, but like it's just like yeah, it's very straightforward and to the point. There's nothing really hidden, but that's kind of how a lot of King Arthur stories are.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, like I don't know if A24 will do more. But I would I think I would like to see some of those King Arthur tales be like get a modern release.
I'd enjoy an anthology collection, like just a small groupings of like a put together series of mini movies of the Canterbury Tales, because the Canterbury Tales are nonsensical and really mean for no good reason.
I heard
Like
of
I
them. I don't
remember,
know them.
yeah, I remember in high school English we had to read one, and there was one about like, yeah, there is this ugly dude who had red welts on his face who would peep on women. Let's go kill him with rocks because he's stinky and looks like a goat man covered in warts. And I was like, oh, the old English, they were so bored. What's next? The one that Starter and I did a school project on was like, um, a woman's husband had to go off to sea, but then she was worried he wouldn't be able to come back because they lived on somewhere with like really rocky shores. So she went to a magician, I think it was, and was like, if you can make the rocks disappear, I'll pay you whatever whatever. And he said, all right, I get to sleep with you if I make the rocks disappear. And she went, oh, but that's cheating on my husband. He's like, well, do you want your husband dead or alive? She's like, all right, we'll go through with it. And then the magician, I think it was a magician, the magician goes to a lawyer, and then the lawyer, like, finagles it so it's like the rocks disappear, even though they never really disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lawyer charged the magician, like, you owe me, like, essentially, like, $1,000,000 for pulling this off, because this was extremely hard to do. And then the husband does come home safe. And the woman is like, you won't ever believe this. You came home safe because I promised this and this and this. And the husband went, well, you know what? This is how I learned of the word cuckold. He's like, you know what? I will be there to make sure you obliged your promise to the magician. You will not get out of this. And the magician went, oh man, I shouldn't do this. And then he went to the lawyer. He's like, I didn't even get to sleep with the woman. Do I still owe you? And the lawyer's like, no. And the question of the story at the end was, who was the most moral? Was it the husband for saying she still had to sleep with the magician? Was it the magician who said he wasn't going to sleep with her anymore? Or was it the lawyer who said he wasn't going to charge the magician anymore? And I was like, that was a story.
They don't make them like that anymore. Yeah. Maybe that if we ever do our book podcast, we can do that. That sounds fun. Are they just a bunch? Are they a bunch of like short stories?
Yeah, they're pretty short.
All right. So there you guys go. Once again, we will hint and loosely go around this idea of that we have at whatever it is,
Another
podcast. So.
But yeah. If you guys listen this far, we appreciate you, and we thank you for the time as we go into the holiday season, especially because it is a busy season for everybody, you know, especially us. That's why we're recording ahead of time.
Yeah, it's not even Christmas. It's not even December yet.
But
hey,
yeah,
you know what? I will put a date to this episode, okay? If anyone wants to figure it out, hey, Ash, good job winning whatever that big Pokemon battle was. You did it. What was it? He won.
Is that
something.
why Pokemon was trending?
Yeah, he like in the anime like won the big one. I don't know
for him.
I don't know what it was. He won the grand championship. Here, I'll just Google it. What did Ash do in Pokemon? It was like news all over the place. Ash becomes the Pokemon World Championship in the Pokemon's Ultimate Journeys anime. I have no clue what this is, but there were articles and stuff everywhere, which really makes me wonder how how high level that Pikachu is, because it broke some sort of level cap. But anyway, that is it. Check us out on Twitter if it's still be there by the time December is.
Rolled around.
Yeah, hopefully we will. That's the one thing. That's the big thing I'm wondering is like, I really have no attachments to this website, but it's like, okay, how? I don't want to learn how to work Reddit. Where share things.
Yeah, it's tough. But yeah,
worry about that.
As always, share us with other people, leave us ratings, reviews, comments, interact with us. We'll give you shout outs if you do any of the above in the beginning of episodes. If we're a little late, sorry, because we have pre-recorded some of this because we are also busy during the holiday season.
It'll all even out next year. Because next year we got, oh man, it's something we've been talking about for a while, but then it's like it's gonna actually happen, and it's gonna be like neat.
Nice.
Which
we did it.
Who knows? No, never mind. I am really good at adding stuff to my plate, and I don't want to do that to Hop, because she has other people that invite her to add stuff to her plate.
Yeah, it's gross. But yes, so next week we'll be talking about Mean Girls and how Christmassy is the movie Mean Girls.
Yep. That's it. Bye-bye.